This episode of Jaynky to the Max does contain strong language.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jaynky to the Max, a podcast where we talk about amazing projects and the even cooler creators who make them. Today on the show, we got madbodger. He's super exciting. A little bit of housekeeping, though. On April, I'm going to say 16th, but I'm going to put the date in the show notes. There was going to be a game jam with Drac. You have a fantastic time while you're stuck in quarantine to sharpen your skills. Also, as always, we stream all these episodes live from the Jaynky DIY web server. So if you ever want to ask questions or whatever, we try to normally get to them. So yeah, do that. Follow us wherever you get podcasts. Spotify, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcasts. We should be everywhere. Now, there's this joke going around that since the coronavirus, every podcast is about the coronavirus. And honestly, I'm sick of it. So we will actually not be directly addressing it or like having themed episodes about the coronavirus. Simply because I figure you guys get enough of that literally anywhere else. So we'll be that nice break. And with me in the studio, I always forget this. I'm sorry, bro. Glavin, my fantastic co-host.
Hey, welcome everybody, and enjoy the show.
Anyways, so hello, madbodger. Welcome to the show. Glad you could be here.
Hey, thank you. Good to be here myself.
Now, one of the things that's just always it's so great is you have so many different stories about like all these different fantastic life experiences that I think we could all learn from. And so tell us, like, give us the general generalities of your life. Like what are the big points in your story?
Let's see, I grew up on the Space Coast. My dad actually worked at NASA, so I got to watch the Apollo launch it, which is amazing.
That is amazing.
And then we moved up to Maryland, and I basically hid in my shell for a bunch of years and decided people sucked and didn't do anything but tinker with electronics. And then puberty hit. And suddenly I was interested in other people, but I didn't know how other people worked. So I just kind of went out and did random stuff and got away with it. It was amazing. I did random shit and people let me.
That's amazing.
Then I went to college, did even more random stuff, took random courses, which was nuts. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to take this advanced math course and set building because I feel like it. And they let me. And it was awesome. And then there was this lab on campus building electronics gear, and I'm like, ooh, this looks stuff. So I kind of peer over in their dumpster. It's like, hey, there are oscilloscopes in the dumpster. I want me those. So I'm climbing in the dumpsters, pulling out oscilloscopes. This guy comes out. He's like, what are they doing? Pulling oscilloscopes out of the dumpster. Well, there's no point lying. It's obvious what I'm up to. Why are you doing that? Because I'm a student. I don't have any money. I want an oscilloscope, and I can't afford one. So I'm going to take these home and try to fix one. You can fix oscilloscope? I don't know. I'm going to try. Come by Monday. I talked to you, and he hired me. I worked there for 3 years building particle beam equipment and fixing oscilloscopes for Nobel laureates. It was insane.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I got a job from dumpster diving.
That is amazing. That is so wow. Okay.
That's like the easiest job interview you didn't even know you were taking.
Yeah, you know. My other jobs have happened that way too, and then I just go and attempt these random things and get away with it. So I ended up partying with the cast of two of my favorite TV shows, like, what? does this even happen?
How does it even happen?
Well, in that case, it was a charitable donation. I'm sitting at the airport ready to fly somewhere, and I'm just like scrolling around on my laptop, and I see this thing. It's like, hey, we're having a fundraiser for St. Jude's Hospital. You know, contribute at least $500 and you can go. And I asked my girlfriend, it's like, hey, should I do this? She's like, oh, I don't know. It's your money. Do what you want. Like, yeah, I'm hopping on this. So I flew down to Memphis, and they had the cast of both TV shows. I got to hang around and party with them, and eventually got invited to go see an episode filmed on set. Like, okay, cool, yay.
Nice.
That is so cool. Wait, what TV show was it for?
Victorious and iCarly.
Right on.
I've heard of that.
Which, since I have the heart of a teenage girl, this was perfect for me. And then later, when some of these folks got famous, it's like, yeah, in those days, not a lot of people knew who Ariana Grande was, but now everybody
For real?
knows. Yeah, she was a Victorious. So I could say, yo,
Wow.
I did back then.
You were before it was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So, anyways, you got your job working for the really cool Nobel laureate, fixing their lab equipment. Then what happened?
Yeah, then I graduated from college. Wasn't sure what to do next, but a friend of mine's mom ran this like job placement thing out of her living room. And she's like, yeah, I can get you a job interview with this company. Like, yeah, sure, go for it. And I went and talked to them, and they asked me all the stuff I didn't know, like, do you know how to do this? Do you know how to do this? Oh, no. However, I could probably learn. Like, really? So they kind of took me on board as a trial thing, and they're like, yeah, we need you to write this DMA driver for this 8-port serial board for this VAX computer. Okay. And I went out, bought a bunch of Fritos and Pop-Tarts, came back, and basically locked myself in the computer room for 3 weeks and wrote this device driver from the ground up. And then they showed me the computer. They're like, oh, well, we don't just have one of these boards in here. We have 5 of them. So we're going to test out your board running 80 ports at once. I'm like, well, this will be... And it fell over and burned the first time, but I just increased a few buffer sizes, and it actually worked. We actually demoed this thing and won the contract.
Wow.
Wow. That's legendary right there.
Nice. That is.
I ended up working there for the next 11 years.
Wow.
So you just did like random, did you do drivers? So you did like microcontroller sort of stuff?
I did some embedded stuff, but mostly this was big industrial Unix machines. Wanted to plug it into stuff designers had never thought of. And they're like, yeah, can you figure out a way to bolt this together and make it actually work? Like, yeah, sure, I can come up with something. It'll be ugly, but it'll work.
Oh,
It's exactly my motto. I can build it. It's going to be ugly, but it'll work.
And like I said, I did set construction back in college, and the whole motto there was file to fit, paint to cover. I'm like, that's a good life motto, and that's my life motto.
that is a very good Jaynky motto.
I love it.
Wow. Okay, so you work here for what, 11 years?
Yeah, I worked there until they merged with another company, and it went badly, and they ran out of money, and I got laid off. And then they kept trying to hire me to freelance. They're like, well, can you just do this one project for us? Just do this one project. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm not doing anything better. And I'd say, yeah, I'll do this for a firm fixed price. I'll do this in 2 weeks for $5,000. Like, oh, well, we don't work that way. It's like, you want to hire me, you're going to work that way. Okay. And one of them, they gave me this thing. It's like, go write this thing. And I went home and I wrote it in like an afternoon. And then I thought, if I turn it around today, they're going to know how easy it was. So I just sat on it for a week, and then I turned it in early. But I basically made $5,000 in an afternoon.
Wow, nice. Smart thinking. That's 200 level IQ right there.
Well, they don't know how hard this stuff is. These are salespeople. I'm
Oh,
a
I know.
programmer, and I just tell them, oh, yeah, this is very complicated. It's going to require lambda tibia fibia physics. And they don't know any better.
Often it works in the other way, where the salespeople oversell the product, and then, us, the guys who have to make it a reality or scratch your heads being like, wait, you told them it could do what exactly?
Oh my gosh.
Oh
yes.
yeah, they wanted to use an Ethernet card as VME interface, and we're like, well, it plugs into Ethernet and VME, so it could just go the other way, right? No!
Nope.
Although they did get the last laugh. I went out on one contract as basically the helper to one of the salespeople. Nice young woman named Melissa. She was 28 years old, and we won the contract. $330 million contract.
Wow.
She took her 5% commission and retired.
Wow.
I didn't even get a thank.
Wow.
That is ridiculous.
So yeah, the salesman won that one. But hey,
Wow, that's incredible. So what happened after after you did what would you even call that? Like embedded systems freelancing?
yeah, pretty much. And some of it was cool, weird stuff. Like I got to write Forth code for OpenProm at one point. Like, well, I don't know Forth, but I'm sure I can learn it.
What is Forth? What is OpenProm?
OpenProm is what the Sun computers used at BIOS. And it was actually written in this programming language called Forth. This really small functional language where it just has verbs that do things, and you can build verbs into other verbs, then build verbs into other verbs, and that's your whole program.
Huh.
And it's goofy, but it's actually kind of fun.
Neat.
Huh. That's interesting. So what is your favorite project that you worked on during this period?
I think favorite one was when I had to debug, of all the insane things salespeople bid on something, was a SCSI floppy drive. It's like, who hooks a floppy drive to a SCSI bus? I don't know. So they bought this thing, and we hooked it up, and it didn't work. So I'm like, well, what's going on? I send it a read command, and it sends back, okay, I'm done. No, you're supposed to send me back the data I asked for. It's like, no, okay, I'm done. So they rented me this super expensive SCSI analyzer, and the SCSI analyzer says, well, that's exactly what happened. Send it a read command, and it sent back, okay, I'm done, and no data. What? Why? And then I decided, the SCSI analyzer is assuming everything is obeying the spec, and I'm guessing it's not. So I got this creaky old logic analyzer, and I hooked it up, and I saw what was going on. It's like, it sends out the command, sends strobe, takes the command away, and waits for acknowledge. That's backward. And most devices, they work fine. They just latch on the leading edge of strobe, and they get the bytes, and it's fine. But apparently this thing had a little microcontroller in it that the strobe was an interrupt. It was like, oh, I was interrupted, I'll go read it. But by then, the command was gone. Thread 0. And in SCSI, a command of 6 zeros is a valid command. It's test unit ready. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. So I go and I look at the driver, and you can see here's the line that gates out the data, here's the line that asserts strobe, then it takes away the data, then it waits for act. I switched 2 lines in the driver, and it fixed it.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's when I learned you get all this fancy analysis equipment, but it has its own interpretation of reality, and if that reality doesn't match the real reality, it's going to lie to you.
That's very true.
Wow. What about your least favorite job you had to work on?
Oh, gosh. That would probably be something I did when I was working for a company called Vivissimo that made a search engine. And we had this really obnoxious customer, big international bank, and they said, we want the website to look exactly like this. Every pixel where we put it. And you have to do it. do it all with HTML and CSS, and it has to
Wait.
work across all these browsers.
So wait, they wanted to look a specific way. Is this like the public browser or just a browser that you're building for the company?
This is just the website that the search engine produces, and they wanted it customized to look a very specific way.
That's so dumb.
Oh, it was. It was 2 months of doing 1 pixel tweaks in CSS. I hated it. Terrible.
Oh, wow.
Oh, doing minute tweaks in CSS like that is such a pain. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's mind-numbing. Hate it.
But that was the days before mobile devices, right? So at least you didn't have to make it responsive.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I didn't have to make a mobile version, but they did want it to work through, Opera and iCab and whatever browsers were in use in those days.
Netscape.
Oh, yeah, Netscape.
Oh, wow. So what did you do after you decided freelancing was enough and you wanted to move on?
I bounced around a little bit and ended up with another company that basically just outsourced engineering. So I went various places and learned various things. And I ended up working with, that's actually how I got the job at Vivissimo. I ended up working with their product, which very configurable and very powerful, and I got very fond of it. This is a cool product. I like all the stuff you can do and how you can program it. And then the company I was working for decided to have a big change of management, and they're like, we're going to all Microsoft all the time, and I'm like, I'm out. So I sent Vivissimo a resume, and they said, it was funny when we got your resume. It's like, we got an unsolicited resume from some clown who knows our product and has a security clearance. So they hired me pretty much instantly. And I worked there for a few years, but I was hoping to actually build the thing, but no, I was stuck hacking CSS. So after a while, I walked and went to another company for a bit, but they ran out of money and I got laid off, so I did hardware design for a while. In the interim, the company that wrote the search engine got bought by IBM, and IBM started selling it, and they're like, oh, well, we need to support this thing. So their subcontractor got in touch with me, and they're like, we want to hire you. And I'm like, I've never heard of you. What? And they're like, oh, you have experience with this obscure Vivissimo product. Like, yeah, I do. Who told you that? They're like, all your ex-coworkers. They said you're wonderful. So I ended up working for them.
Oh. Well, you hadn't heard of IBM?
Oh, I'd heard of IBM, but this was an IBM subcontractor called Essex Tech. It's actually based up in New York City. And Essex Tech wanted to hire me to support IBM Watson series products. Okay.
Oh, so before Watson was the search engine.
Well, IBM bought a bunch of companies and piled all of their software together and just called the result Watson Explorer.
Oh.
So it's all these things that were never designed to work together, just kind of shoved together.
Like Windows?
Yeah, kind of like that, but at least these products basically worked. It's just they were never designed to interoperate.
Interesting. So your job was to make it work together smoothly?
Yeah, the customers would say, okay, I bought Watson Explorer, so how do I make Application Builder and the report generator work with Engine? Like, I can help you with that. I can bolt things together and make them do what you want.
See, that's what I love, and I think we can all take away is just your attitude of not needing to know how to do something right off the bat, of being okay with not knowing how to do it, but fully confident that you have the mental capabilities to pick it up and learn it. And
yeah, that's what I learned back at that first job at the Particle Beam Lab, because this was a college, it was an educational institution, so they were all about learning. So they never asked, do you know how to do this? They just asked, can you do this? And at one point they said, we want you to build this pulsar that goes from 0 to 2,000 volts in a few hundred picoseconds, ramps up quadratically to 6,000 volts, and then shuts off. Yeah, I can do that. And my next stop was the library. It's like, how do you switch 2,000 volts a picosecond? Found this obscure little tube known as a Crytron that was developed as a trigger for nuclear weapons.
Whoa!
So I bought some of these tubes, and I built this thing, and I made it work. And it turns out they had assumed I could not do this, so they had a grad student build a version. And the grad student had this giant board. It was like 18 inches on the side, and it had all these transistors in series, each one switching a few hundred of 1,000 volts. And it would charge up for 10 minutes and make a pulse. Charge up for 10 minutes and make a pulse. And every few hundred pulses, it would have a problem and destroy itself. And here I am with my little vacuum tube thing that fits in the palm of your hand, running it at 10,000 pulses a second for hours on end.
That's amazing.
That is awesome.
That is amazing.
That's the result of really
Fallout
doing some
for
good
that
research
is
into
if
it.
you go to Wikipedia and you look up a Crytron tube, and there's a picture on it, that's my picture of my Crytron.
Oh,
That's sweet.
Amazing. So is that where your love of vacuum tubes started?
Oh, that started when I was a kid. When I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of money. So basically, what I learned on was anything I could pick out of the trash. I did trash picking from a very young age. And what people were throwing away in those days was old vacuum tube stuff, so that's what I learned on, and I got really fond of it. That's my tube! I see it! It's on the screen! So I posted
Oh,
it
that's
to General
awesome.
Voice.
Thank you, GMAC Works.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
a little tiny thing. It's the size of a pea.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect for something that big for it to be giant, but no. Wow.
I think it'd be like the size of a big thyroid or something.
You know, you also bring up an excellent point here, where you said you came up with this project, and then you had another grad student that had a similar product, but worked in a completely different method, which kind of is the neat thing that kind of opens up the ideas of, like, to people that are really wanting to get into building something. Of there's more than just one correct answer on how to build something. It just comes down to exactly how it is what you're really wanting out of the thing. So if you only need one pulse every
Absolutely.
few minutes, the one might be fine, but the amount of overhead and cost and everything and possible failures was kind of an issue with it. And then, like, you come in with this little thing that just can do this every second for
Blows them all away.
hours. Yeah, it's just...
And I get this a
it's
lot
just
on
neat.
Discord. I hang out on a bunch of Discords, like, just giving technical help, and a question I'll get is like, well, what's the best stepper driver? Find ask. What's important?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No, a lot of it's depending on your method, and
And the application, what's going to be used in.
yeah. Wow. So wait, so you for the vacuum tubes, you learned on vacuum tubes. How did you even because this is in the days before the internet, right? So
Oh, yeah.
I bet you just had all you learned from was library books, right?
Yeah, the local library was about 2 blocks away, so I walked there all the time looking stuff up.
Oh, man, that's
Wow.
awesome.
My dad had a copy of the RCA receiving manual, which I probably read cover to cover. As you remember the old episodes of Star Trek where, hey, Scotty, don't you want to go out and meet women? No, I want to stay and keep up with my technical manual. That's me.
Same here.
We were meant for the coronavirus.
Oh, yeah, I've been preparing for this all my life.
Ditto.
In fact, it's like, oh, nice. This is like, I can save the world through staying at home and learning all the stuff I said I was going to learn later. This is an amazing opportunity right here.
Exactly.
Dang it! We're turning into the coronavirus podcast. All right, we are changing the subject. So,
Good
so I take it that's where you're working right now. You're working with Watson and getting their products and everything.
Yeah, I'm still working for the IBM subcontractor. Turns out we not just sell IBM, we also sell like Google Compute Engine. So I've learned out how to stand up a little VM student with a big GPU, do neural net learning.
Oh, cool. So you've been getting data science and machine learning.
Yeah, because that's a lot of what the company getting into is machine learning and chatbots, things like that. So I figured, hey, I need to get smart on this stuff. Selling, I learned a long time ago. Find out what the salesmen want. Go learn that.
Yeah, no, that's important. So like I remember I got a lot of ads for IBM Watson, and I thought it was just another like Alexa or Google Assistant, but it's not. It's like much more powerful, right?
Yeah, it's this huge grab bag of stuff. Everything from a little cloud service that'll do speech to text to this giant thing that fills a whole bunch of equipment cabinets. And as just saw on Discard, plays Jeopardy. What am I making it do? I've got an IBM AC92 that I'm to identify.
I think you're
cutting out a
is he
little
breaking
bit.
up for you?
Yeah. We're having
Maybe
some connection issues.
maybe leave and rejoin if you can hear us.
Try.
All right, he's back. All right. Still cutting out. Anyways, this is a great time to say that I think one of the great things I love about all these stories, and one of the things I'm taking away from it is learning. I know I'm always touting project-based learning, but you have. I always learn best when you have that goal, when you have that ideal that you're trying to go for, and you're like, well, okay, I want to go here, but I'm right here. I need to know this, and this before I can get this project done. Like that's where I shine, and I think it's the same for a lot of you guys out there.
Yeah, just learning by doing.
Yeah, that's where
Taking
I get
that
my
risk.
motivation. Yeah. I love learning, but I'm terrible in school.
Yes.
I only got into college because, well, they have this weird nomograph at the university that if your grade point average is X, then an SAT score of Y to get in. Luckily, demon at standardized tests, and I read like a fiend. So my SAT scores were off the charts, but grade point average 0.96. And I got in.
Nice.
That's amazing. So wait, did you graduate from college?
No, I went for 4 years. I learned a bunch of stuff, but I didn't have enough credits in any one discipline for a degree, and I had simply run out of patience. So
you're like the original like non-college graduate success story right there.
Yeah,
like for all of those out you who are trapped in a terrible education situation and wondering, is there another way? Yes, there is another way. It's not easy, but
Definitely takes willpower and determination and just
and luck.
and a little bit of luck. And good contacts, who you know.
Yeah, no works. Ooh, here we got a question from Sergeant Warhammer. How many things at school are you actually using in the field?
I'm actually using, of all things, English and math.
So true.
I can see the math.
Yeah, English I'm using because a lot of what we're doing with the machine learning is text analysis and extracting sentences. So actually understanding gerunds and mentions and that stuff has weirdly come in critical skill.
Interesting. That's good to know. Yeah, that makes sense. I went into a little bit of NLP, natural language processing, but yeah, no, that's definitely important. Wow. So, where did we cut off when you were talking about Watson?
I was just saying, following up on your comment about I learn best when I'm doing a project, so I set myself a project of using machine learning to identify Lego bricks, build an automated Lego sort.
Oh, that's
yes.
what that's for. Oh, yes. How is that going, by the way?
It's beginning to go. I don't have the mechanical parts very far, but built a machine learning model that does a pretty good job. It's 64% accurate to get started with, because then I can put it learning feedback. So what I want to do now is squeeze the model down small enough, run it on a Raspberry Pi. And then I can Pi camera to look at the Lego. And then the PIOs to like servos or something to bat things around the bucket.
Oh, yeah, now that... I remember... Yeah, isn't that like that's the basis for the Lego vacuum cleaner that was released April 1st a couple years ago, right?
Oh, I missed that one. Sounds good.
Oh, yeah. So, Lego does this thing where, for April Fools, they actually release a product that everyone really wants, but, you know, it's April Fools, so it's just a joke product. And one of the joke products was a vacuum cleaner that vacuumed up Legos and automatically sorted.
Oh, yeah, that would sell like hotcakes.
Oh, for sure.
That's the next step of the project. You can do it slow. No, can you do it fast? Wow, that's amazing. So, out of like all the, like, what was like out of your whole life experience, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned? Biggest words of wisdom to share with the audience?
Well, a lot of the ones we've hit so far, don't assume you can't think how. Learned a lot just stuff, even if I fail.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be afraid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Definitely words of wisdom to go by.
All right, how many things do you not know, and what would you like to learn that has little to nothing to do with engineering? That is a good question. Thanks, Sergeant.
There's infinite number of things I don't. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know.
Connection might have went out again, or you're not speaking close enough to your microphone.
Could be. What's this?
That's way better.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Yeah, I think I bumped my headset mic.
That happens from time to time.
It was just like the dramatic pause before you revealed something super deep and wise. So no pressure.
I'd like to get better at carpentry, which is vaguely engineering related.
Yeah, that was good.
That's a good one. That's actually picking that up when I end up getting my bought my house.
Buying a house is a great excuse to learn to
exactly.
use tools.
I remember my very first, right before I got to do my very first major project here, my buddy ended up kidnapping me and taking me to a Harbor Freight sale. And we loaded up his entire SUV with all kinds of tools.
Oh, awesome. And
like,
probably sent you back $100.
Yeah, right, exactly. I think the whole trip was like maybe $500 or $600. And I'm like, it literally was the whole interior of that vehicle. Like, my lap was loaded with tools and stuff. Like, we couldn't even fit anything more in the back or whatnot, or on the roof.
Not. bad.
Wow.
Oh, the cat showed up. Hello, cat.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Yeah, so, do you have any projects in mind for carpentry, or just like in general?
There's an event out in Baltimore called the Kinetic Sculpture Race they do every year, where you build a sculpture that's mobile, and then you race it around a course. And it's not really for prizes, it's just to show off and have fun, but I want to do this.
What is it called? I have to look this up.
Kinetic Sculpture. They do this in a bunch of cities, so there may be one near you.
Kinetic Sculpture Race. All right. Wait, so you're like writing on the sculpture, or does it like is it I assume there's motors. Okay. All right. I'm getting pictures.
Yeah,
Wow.
it has to be human powered, so it could be as simple as a modified bicycle to like a vehicle you build yourself and pedal down the street.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are cool.
These are really cool. All right, I'm going to put a link in the show notes, guys, because you're not going to want to miss this. I'm seeing some pretty. Wow, that would be so much fun.
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
See, that's what I love. Like your reasons for doing stuff isn't some quote unquote sensible thing like, oh, I want to add an addition to my house, or I want to like a normie. You're like, oh, I want to go on this legendary, amazing kinetic sculpture race. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Oh,
Boldly
that's
go-
what makes it so interesting. It's just.
Boldly going where no engineer has gone before.
Wait, what is the story that like most that I guess exemplifies that the most? Like, what's the most random sort of like awesome off the walls thing you've done?
One time, I decided I wanted to dress up as a Ghostbuster. So I got an Arduino and a bunch of cardboard and styrofoam, and I made a proton pack, and I bought a suit and so forth. And I went to the company Halloween party, and I had some fun. And then I found out there's a group of people who dress up as Ghostbusters and visit local hospitals to cheer up children. So I started hanging out with them and doing that. And then there was a contest. Omaze was running this contest, like, hey, you can go to the Ghostbusters Fan Fest and meet the cast and try out this new VR game. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I threw some money at it, and I won. So I got to fly out to LA and hang out with Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson and go to Ghost Fest and do this AR game. I'm like, this is cool. Just because I randomly decided to build a proton pack and then ran with it.
That's,
Nice.
That is beautiful. And you helped kids along the way, right?
Yeah, it was a win all around. There was no downside.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my gosh! Wow. All right. Well, we should probably pack things up here. So glad you could hop on here, and I just want to thank you for all the Discord servers, because I know you're on a lot, and you're not only on a lot of servers, but you're also like active and helping so many people out with their questions and such. And like, thank you for that service, because I'm sure I think probably almost every one of us have been helped by your sage advice at one point or another.
And it's weird. I'd been helping out on Adafruit, just to help out, and they created the whole community helpers role for me, basically. I'm like, that was cool of you guys. I appreciate the recognition.
Awesome.
That's great. Wow. Is there any do you have many public social media accounts for people to follow, like YouTube or Twitter?
I'm on Facebook, where occasionally active, and I'm on Dreamwidth, where when I get an idea to post about, I'll post about. That's about it.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean Discord is obviously the best place.
Yeah, I like things like Slack and Discord where there's a real back and forth and an interaction.
Me too. That's why this is my absolute favorite social media medium, is because you engage with people on such a better level. Like, I feel like social media, it's more about branding and about like your public face to the world, and then Discord's more of like that personal connection that I absolutely love.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
So I've been meaning to do this. Thank you, Nathan, for doing the YouTube videos and getting us out on YouTube. Since that is a great way we get out there. Really appreciate it.
Nate's great,
yeah.
Nate.
Yes. Thanks again for being on the show. And if you haven't already, of course, follow our podcast. Hit the like button if you are on YouTube. And no matter what project you're working on, guys, keep it janky to the max.
Yeah, you've seen my projects. They are.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Jaynky to the Max. If you like it, make sure to like the video and subscribe. And if you want to suggest more projects that we can feature, make sure to comment down below, or even better, join the Discord server in the description. We try to stream live every weekend on the server, so make sure to join and grab the podcast role if you want to be there and see it for yourself. Anyway, make sure to stay janky.